Welcome, 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 everyone. For 2 series, Leah has been in the interviewer's chair, asking everyone else the tough questions. But today, I'm turning the tables on you, Leah. Welcome to being a guest on your very own podcast. I've got so many questions for you, but what does it feel like with the tables turned immediately? Tell me just
My
how you're feeling.
goodness.
3 words.
The pressure is on. That's how it feels. It feels intense. I don't know. I've been on a podcast before and I've had like conversations with people before, but it feels intense. It feels, ooh, I'm in the hot seat.
Enjoy it, enjoy it. The
I'll
spotlight's on you.
try. I'll definitely give it a go.
So you've spent 2 series asking everyone else where their story begins, but where does yours begin? I want to know a bit more about you. How did you get into this world? Where did it
Ooh.
all start? You can start from the womb if you want to. We're curious.
If I start from the womb, you'll be the one that's telling it to me. I guess I don't know. I think professionally, I would say that I can trace my story back to being 10 or 11 years old, maybe a bit younger, I'm not exactly sure, to you putting me in STEM ets and making me go to, well, not making me, but getting you to go to Coder Dojos. Um, this is where I learned how to program. This is where I learned how to build my own websites and play around with fonts and designs and colors and patterns. And this is probably where I planted the first seed to be where I am now. I would say another seed was being a teenager and playing around on social media, specifically Tumblr, and having my own blogs where I could design them how I want. I could change even the mouse if I wanted to, and just playing around in that developer tab. Um, Whilst obviously we know social media isn't good now, I would say if I had never been on Tumblr, I might not have the skills that I have to this day, that have led me to designing my own platform.
Yeah, and I think you were introduced to social media quite early, because you were a youth parliamentarian, weren't you? And I think
Yeah.
you had to campaign using social media, didn't you?
I did. I did. I was in youth parliament. Oh my goodness, you're throwing me back now, Mum. You're reminding me of things that I don't even remember properly. But yeah, I was in youth parliament at the age of 11, I think it was, when I was first elected. And I was involved all the way through till I was 16. After I was a youth parliamentarian, I became a youth commissioner, which is crazy to say for our local borough. I just feel like I did so much at such a young age that it feels like I can barely remember it, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
But it does thrust you into using, I think, social media in a really positive way because you're
Yeah,
campaigning, you're not just scrolling. So I think that's quite an interesting aspect. So
it is a
start
really interesting aspect. I think as well, like I especially now I'm 24, I really have a real disconnect with social media. I feel like I did it all too early, whereas some of my friends can sit and doom scroll. I'm like, oh my goodness, no. If I wake up and the first thing I do is go on my phone, I get like a pit in my stomach. Like, I have to get up and get myself ready, like, I'll even if I use social media when I'm in the gym first thing in the morning, I'm like, "No, I can't doom scroll. This is too much." And now that I run my own company and social media is so vital for it, I find it really difficult, to be honest. Um, I did a content day yesterday, and I was just like, "I don't want to be in front of a camera," which is
what's a
crazy 'cause we
content
have
day? Tell us what and not everyone knows what a content
that's
day is.
so
What is
true.
a content day?
So I have a social media marketing woman. Her name is India. She is actually a good friend of mine as well. But in order to market the brand and market myself and the company, I need to take content. So content would be photos, videos, TikToks, anything that she can use to market me and market the company as well. So
Okay.
it's like photos of me typing,
Okay.
TikToks, videos of me walking, just doing things that she can edit together.
Okay. we're educated. We all know what a content day is
Yeah,
now. We all need one. We're
we
still all
do.
slightly shamed as well. You know, the doom scrolling when we wake up first thing in the
Oh
morning.
my
There's a lot of
goodness.
us who do that. But
The
we're
doom
hearing that you
scrolling
go
is
to the
hard to
gym.
get away from it. Yeah, I love to go to the gym. I
Okay.
Because I work from home, I don't have an office. If I don't go to the gym first thing in the morning, a lot of time I will just start working when I wake up.
Yeah.
And then I'll be on a screen from like 7 in the morning all the way through to like 7 at night. And it's just not healthy. I think we know that now. And it's hard to find work-life balance when especially because 'cause I'm so young as well. It's, like, hard to find that work-life balance, figuring out where to ground myself, how to juggle things. I'm still working it out, so
Yeah, but tell us about Dawn. We want to know more about it. So, my understanding is that Dawn Intelligence uses AI to tackle harms, gender based violence being one of them potentially. So, it's not a cautious first venture. It sounds like you're going, go big or go home.
Yeah.
What made you go there?
So, I witnessed a really horrifying attack, and then that attack was then turned onto me, and after this, I really struggled with anxiety and stress. And to be honest, I think it was part of probably a factor in why I moved back home as well. I found it really difficult and I really struggled, and I struggled to understand why something like that would happen. I struggled even more because I felt like angry at the world at how something like this could happen to someone else and then also happen to me. And I was scared. I was really, really scared. And I was made redundant and I just sat and I was thinking, wow, how could I stop something like this happening to someone else? Um, And I just had an idea for this platform that could track when risk happened and could layer risk. And I didn't really know how I could do something like that, but I just didn't really have that much else to do. So I just thought, I'm just going to play around and while I'm applying for jobs and see what happens. And that's when Dawn was born.
Tell me, I'm going to really be annoying, I think, but what do you mean layer risk? What does that mean? To like explain it to me as if I'm a
So
5-year-old because I don't,
I this is where I guess we get into what Dawn really is. So Dawn Intelligence is an advisory intelligence platform, and it's marketed to UK public sector bodies like the police, local authorities, safeguarding boards, education providers, health commissioners, and regulated organisations. The way that Dawn works is it takes publicly available recorded crime data, government statistics, institutional documents, and the news, so public affairs, like what's happening in with wars, what's happening with the oil crisis, what's happening with economics. And it takes all of this and turns it into structured, contextualized intelligence. This helps organizations understand what's happening, where it's happening, and what might be changing. I think there's a big risk when you do things like this that it can turn into some sort of surveillance model. But something that I'm really mindful about, and what I've always been mindful about, was coding with integrity and coding to be ethical. Dawn doesn't predict individuals, it can't automate decisions, and it really is mindful to not collapse complexity into one singular score, which is something that we see quite a lot. We see um, this simplification of harm, and I love to compare it to normalcy bias. Normalcy bias is a theory that things could be really, really bad. You could be in a burning building, but because it's happening over time, you're not realizing that it's happening. You the harm becomes normalized. And I think with the rise of social media and just being able to see things. We're constantly seeing things. Maybe you don't realize how bad harm actually is. For example, there was an attack this week in Primrose Hill, and a boy my age passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's horrible. But there were videos circling around of it online, and I said to one of my friends, "Did you see the video?" And she said, "Yeah." And neither of us were like, shocked by what we'd seen, even though it was really horrific. Um, and that's normalcy bias. It's collapsing the complexity, collapsing horror into simplicity. Like, oh, that's horrible. Instead of, wow, that's really horrific. And I think that we see this happen. And when we see this happen and we're collapsing complexity, it makes us less likely to act on it because it stops being, "Oh my goodness, this horrible thing's happened," and, it turns into, "Oh, yeah, these horrible things happened." It takes away from, "How do we change this? How do we stop this happening?" And it just means, "Oh, yeah, something bad's happened again." You know?
I love the analogy of the frog. I don't know if you've come across it before. So if you had a pan of boiling water and you dropped a frog into it, not that you would, but if you did, the frog would immediately jump out. It's like jump. But if you put the frog in a pan of cold water and slowly heated it up, the frog wouldn't notice and the frog would just end up being cooked and die. Yeah. And
Exactly.
it's very much aligned with what you're saying here. It's like, actually, yeah, we're not we haven't been dropped into boiling water, because if we had just today been dropped into the world, we'd be like, oh my gosh, no way are we, taking videos of people being killed. No way is it okay that there's a war going on right now. No way is it okay that violence happens to women all the time. But
Mhm.
because the water is heating and we're in it, we're not noticing. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's a really, really good point. I love that. The other thing I want to pick up about what you said was this contextualized, because in my use of AI, that's the biggest challenge. It's not contextualized.
Yeah.
I can't even give it enough context, because it will take me so long to say, but this is not what you don't know, and this is what you don't see, and this is what you don't understand, AI. And if you did all understand that, then you'd be really able to help me fully. But you're saying that your AI is contextualized, and that's quite different, isn't it?
It is. I think because of the core capabilities of Dawn, and one of our core pillars is intelligence, as said in our name, we pride ourselves on being contextualized and also informed. One of our baselines in our forecast is ARIMA. ARIMA is a program that is able to track offense volumes over time, and it shows the direction, so rising, falling, stable, and seasonal patterns. So we have over 10 years worth of data in our systems. Just that alone gives us an insane context to what's going on right now, mixed with signal detection. We have 5 signals that are derived from our time series. So our time series is, you know, the slopes in detect like the slopes in crime, whether it rises, whether it falls, the change points, the rolling volatility. So that is like, okay, so how is this war going to affect us? What's going to change? How does it change over time? What are the new signals that are coming in? And the year on year changes on things. So at the moment, we're obviously in a cost of living crisis, but we haven't always been in a cost of living crisis. We were out of the woods a couple of years ago. So how has that impacted it as well? How does, the pressure on the NHS also impact the way people are living? How does that impact trends? We also see a change when the seasons change. So as we as the clocks went back and we have longer days and there's more sunlight, that also impacts all these risks. How do they layer on top of each other, and how do they get graded in severity? So the way we do it is elevated to watch and is it stable? And um, each of those risks and signals get one of those.
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
So
We
there's
also yeah, no,
sorry. So
you
that
go.
just so I understand, there's layers that of context, and
Yeah,
that's what we as humans are doing all the time in a way. But your AI is layering on lots of different information, and then it's saying, "Oh gosh, like alarm bells, this is something, this is elevated, you need to be able to look out for this," or it's saying, actually, this is okay, this is pretty standard, nothing to worry about. So you're
yeah,
flagging things that perhaps, because we're like the frog heating up in the water, we're not noticing, and you're saying,
exactly.
actually, wake up, jump out of that water and do something.
Exactly. It's really interesting as well because we can look at pattern detection. So the co-occurrence of patterns, the escalation signature matching as well. You'd be surprised how much spreads from one place to another. So some sort of harm could, let's say, start in Barking and Dagenham and spread through to Hackney.
Right.
And it would have like a knock-on effect over the course of maybe like a week or a few days or even a few hours. So let's say, like, for example, the London riots in 2011, that spread from London all the way up through to Scotland.
Mm.
How interesting is that? Imagine if there was some sort of early warning for that, or pattern detection, or displacement monitoring as well. That's the environmental driver that spread like wildfire. But we see that happening in other things that aren't so severe as well, that maybe a person without this product wouldn't be able to see. And
can
I
i
think
can i
there's
stop you for a minute and just understand, what you just said, displacement, what was it?
displacement monitoring.
So can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so for example, if the council if we lived in a borough and they ran out of housing, they would be putting people in anywhere that they could. Or let's say there was a flood, people are displaced and they're moved, and
Right.
that has a knock-on effect on the rest of the country as a
Ah,
whole,
I
even if
see.
we don't know it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. And they did that actually a few years ago, didn't they? The council said, if you're in a three bed and there's only one of you, we're moving you. We
yeah,
want to give the three beds to people who need three beds. So you might have to travel, we might send you out of London or somewhere else. Yeah, and that could
exactly.
really affect people. It can affect
It's
their mental
forced
health. They're away from their
exactly.
communities.
It's forced displacement, and that has such a knock-on effect. I think that these types of things we do take for granted almost, how much they really can impact society as a whole. Um, yeah,
Yeah, there's some forgotten people,
there are lots
that,
of
yeah,
forgotten people,
yeah,
so many.
that Dawn could help, well, us
Exactly,
understand the impact of what they're doing, what's being done to them, and how that impacts globally. Because I think we forget, and then maybe there's just a rise in mental health issues, but we're not realizing that perhaps there was something that triggered this in the first place.
exactly.
Um, Now, when I look at your website, it says this is a startup. No, sorry, this is not a startup. This is a movement. That's really bold, as I come to expect from you. But what does it actually mean to you on a day to day? Yeah, maybe when it's hard, not when it's easy. What's this movement about?
I I say that I don't run Dawn like a company. I run it like it's my baby, like it's my child that I nurture and I love and I believe can change the world. I think that when you run a company from a human centered and a change centered belief and ideology, I think it stops being this money-making machine that is focused on the product, and it becomes almost holistic way of life that where you believe in something, you love it so much, you know it can change the world. So you stop seeing it as something to sell and almost more like a gift that you can give people. And it's
Mm.
like, I can give this to you and it can change lives. And that's not me saying that Dawn doesn't cost money because it does. Um, but it's also saying, oh, I could stop this bad thing happening to someone. Do you want to be part of it? or do you want to not be part of it?
Mm, I like that. I like that. Say that again.
This could save someone's life. Do you want to be part of it? Or do you not want to be part of it? And I think once you say it to someone like that, they're like, well, yeah, of course I want to be part of it. Why
Yeah.
would I want to cause harm? And
Yes.
I think that once people see the platform as well, they see so many different layers of it. And it's like, wow, this is incredible. Like your capability is crazy. Right now we have 32 workspaces live. Um, and it covers over, I think, 7 million people.
Wow.
So imagine how many lives could be saved
I
just
love
through
that.
that. Thank
Do
you.
you want to be part of it or do you not want to be part of it? Well, yeah, we have to want to be part of doing good for other people.
I think you have to be part of the change that you want to see.
Yeah.
You have to be the change that you want to see because you can't expect someone else to do it for you. I think that I realized that if I wanted to see change and if I wanted to prevent something bad happening to someone else, I needed to do it. I couldn't just sit and wait for someone else to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I mean, we've talked a bit already about this thing about surveillance
Oh God,
versus
yeah.
protection. Yeah, I'm curious maybe about a few things. Anything more you want to share? If there's anything more you want to share about the difference between surveillance and protection, or
100%.
also this idea of like early intervention sounds good, but what does it actually really look like?
Yeah.
So yeah, any of those, if you want to share any more on those points.
Yeah, 100%. I think that Dawn is not surveillance. We have so much surveillance in the UK. We have so much surveillance worldwide. Just look at the amount of CCTV cameras we have. We have facial recognition that negatively impacts um, people of minoritized backgrounds, whether they are people of color, they're women, they're people of different gender identities. This it negatively impacts so many people. Why would I want to be a part of something, of a system that does that to people? You know? Why would I want my platform to be like that? And I think that when people hear AI and predicting crime or predicting trends in crime, their first thoughts are immediately, wow, this is going to be a tool for oppression, when in reality it is the furthest thing from that. Dawn is transparent by design. We have full audit logging, exportable governance artifacts, so that includes board papers, and we also have public transparency options as well, where people, if you would like to, could see exactly the way the back end of Dawn works and how it is not surveillance. I think if Dawn chose to be a surveillance model, we wouldn't choose to be as we would choose to be more focused in on areas, on streets, on people almost, but that is not what we do. We don't look at who's perpetrating the crime. We look at the survivors of the crime and we look at how to keep them safe. You know, I think that it's a mentality shift from survivors to perpetrators. That would be seen as surveillance, and that would be where harm could be continued. It's a cycle of people looking at the perpetrators, looking at them rather than looking at the survivors. And I guess this comes into preventative versus reactive um, platforms. Dawn is preventative and it looks at the cause of harm rather than the outcomes of harm.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I think it is quite important. So we're not trying to
100%.
pinpoint anyone as being a criminal.
Yeah,
And that's when we know people get stereotyped or misidentified. What we're saying is, we
exactly.
know this has happened. Let's stop it. Let's stop more of it happening. Oh, this is going to happen based on
Yeah,
the trends here. We know that when there's football, I think, isn't there? There's often
yeah.
football matches and someone's team loses. Sometimes there's an increase in domestic violence. I
There's
think there's
domestic violence either way, whether they win or they lose.
really, my
Yeah,
goodness. So we know sport. high profile sports game more. So what do we do in that situation then to
Yeah,
stop that peak happening? And that's what
exactly.
you're doing. So yeah, what does early intervention actually look like in practice then? Can you
Wow,
walk me
that's
through an
such a good
example?
question. Yeah, of course I can. I would absolutely love to. Decision support and early intervention looks like intelligence products that are completely tailored to the various roles that people do. In the platform, we actually have a decision calendar, which is a forward looking calendar of upcoming decision points. So it could be governance headlines, reporting windows, seasonal factors, bank holiday, awareness campaigns. And this takes our contextualized intelligence and puts it against the institutional calendar to put prevention considerations in. So this would be evidence-based prevention actions that are surfaced in context. But I know that sounds like a lot of words.
It does. Unfortunately, I really always need the 5-year-old's explanation.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. I'd be listening and I'd be like, what does that even mean? So that could be looking at awareness campaigns that are put up a month before. We know that if there is almost subliminal messaging, so if you see the same poster every day, you are going to see it and you're going to believe it, almost like manifestation. If you see, don't do this every day and you're reading it, but you're not really reading it, it's going to go in. Does an awareness campaign need to go in? Does an email need to be sent out to your colleagues to say, be careful on this day, take more, take a different route to work, maybe take a different route home,
So
maybe.
can you for what specifically? Are we talking about the football match example? Are we talking about another example? When are we specifically what can you give me an example of what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's say there is a big football match. It's University Freshers Week, and it is also a bank holiday, and it's 25 degrees outside. People are going to be, oh, and it's summer.
Mm.
People are going to be out. They're going to be out late. There's going to be an increased risk of crime, of drinking alcohol, and also of just inebriated states, I guess. That is probably an 8-layer risk intake, And then we would look on the calendar, look at the date, and think of what decision points we need to take to reduce harm.
That's really clear. So you're kind of seeing, oh my gosh, this is that layering is like an explosion
Yeah,
of things that could happen here. What do
yeah,
we need to do now, a month in advance, to kind of help people think about it? Maybe we do a campaign about being at, if people are out drink driving, for example, we do a campaign about having fun at home and not drinking, for
exactly,
example, or yeah,
exactly.
so now, yeah, now I'm really getting it. You're kind of nudging people away from harm.
Mhm,
Yeah, really love that. Or increasing their awareness that something could happen. So what do you need to do to protect yourself?
exactly.
Okay, love it. That makes so much more sense now. Thank you. Uh, So, you're probably not, although you talked about the fact that, you were taken by me to coding classes as a young person. You were introduced to social media really early through your parliamentary involvement. Um, however, you're probably still not the typical person we expect to create an AI platform.
Definitely not.
You're a young woman of color and you have got a degree, but your degree wasn't in computer science. So I guess in some ways you could actually be inspiring to other people. You're definitely an inspiration to me. So I guess what would you say to a young woman with a similar background about building a company in this space right now?
Just do it. The
Okay.
worst thing that's gonna happen is that you come out with something that you didn't expect you were going to make, but the best thing that's gonna happen is that you change the world. I think that I, as everyone could be, naive to anyone who goes into this space is a bit naive about what it could be. I think that I definitely was. I think as well it is really hard being one. a young person, especially being Gen Z, it's quite hard. And I think that whilst people older than me, and maybe from older generations talk about the fact it's hard for them that the workplace is changing, it's hard to get into the work. It's hard to get into workspaces. It's hard to get into technology, and it's hard to be Gen Z um, right now in the workspace. I think a lot of people, I especially found that we were at a conference a couple of weeks ago. I found that when people would find out how old I was, sometimes they would just switch off. So I found myself avoiding that conversation a lot. I still
Mm,
find myself avoiding that conversation. And I find it even harder to, I find it really hard being a woman, and especially being a woman of color in this field. You know, you have to be resilient, you have to keep knocking on those doors, and you have to constantly be thinking ahead. You know, when people hear what I've built, the first question they ask a lot of the time is, did you use vibe coding? Did you build it yourself? And I always answer honestly, yeah, I did build it myself. And they're like, really? You didn't use that much vibe coding? And it's like, yeah, no, I built the majority of it myself. I built 80% of it myself. And you have to, one, be resilient, because that itself is quite um it kind of knocks me back every time someone asks me that, and they ask me that a lot. And you have to be grounded in yourself to know that, like, yeah, you did build this, and it is impressive, and it's almost a compliment that people can ask that,
mm.
as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I mean, I think also though, yeah, I hear everything you're saying. I also think is vibe coding the worst thing in the world if someone does use it? Because it's like, oh, did you my car outside? Did someone build it from scratch? No, they used machines to help them. And if
Yeah,
someone said I'm going to build a car from scratch, everyone would be like, why? So I understand if people are challenging your ability, but I also think that sometimes people are layering something on that actually doesn't need to be there. I've definitely observed the dynamic between us when people meet us. Sometimes they're deferring to me, sometimes they're underestimating you. And like it's really highlighted to me how much people can be quite condescending to young people,
yeah,
underestimate them, yeah, question their ability. And I so but I also think ageism can work both ways. So I think that
100%.
happens. And then also people can think older people don't know anything about AI or technology,
Yeah,
and, are not fast enough at grasping it. So, as always, inclusion is at the heart of what I'm about. And I think that we need to be open to hearing and learning from each other. Uh,
100%, mum. I
mm,
completely agree. I do think though, it people really do underestimate young people, and I think that this comes back down to I guess bias, and ageism does work both ways. I am agreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I really have found it a lot when I've been setting
mm,
up my own company.
mm.
Even just setting up meetings with people and then being like immediately asking, "How old are you? You look really young," or things like that, and just yeah, it's tough. You have to be resilient. You have
It's
to really
tough.
be resilient.
But no one says that to me anymore, so enjoy it while you have it. Because I remember being
Yeah.
young and underestimated, and now there's no one's no one's saying, "How old are you?"
Yeah.
So it's also something to be very thankful for, 'cause
Yeah.
it doesn't last forever, to be the youngest person
I
about doing the
know.
work that you're doing. But
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly inspiring. A young woman of color in the UK building a company in this space right now, at the forefront of it and doing it for good as well, not
Yeah.
just jumping on the bandwagon of making money. And of course, it does have to make money as an organization, but
It
that's
does.
not its core purpose. So,
No.
super proud of you.
Thanks, mum.
And actually, people are always interested in our mother-daughter dynamic, aren't they? Don't you
They
think?
are, they
They
are.
actually, I find people love it. They just seem to love our our dynamic. It's not engineered, everyone. This is just how we are.
It is.
And we're co-hosting this podcast. We're writing a book together. Actually, I'll close my ears maybe. What's it actually like working with your mum? I'd love to, I think everybody wants to know. And you can talk about the highs and the lows. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that we have different ways of working, to be honest. I think we do. I think that I'm quite insular in the way that I work. I like to just be head down, get my work done, be like little communication as possible. I'm a one track minded type of person. Um and whereas my mum likes a lot of collaboration, well, not loads of collaboration, but she likes to collaborate a bit more. And I find that quite difficult. But I think the more that I have involvement in AI for equity in Dawn, the better it gets as well. I love working with my mum because obviously she only has my best interests at heart, and I only have my mum's best interest at heart as well. I love working with my mum, and I'm excited to see what else we do. Yeah.
Oh, I love working with you too. I really enjoy it. It's as I said, it's kind of opened my eyes as well to what it's like for you in the world. I kind
Yeah.
of much more empathy and understanding of your experience.
Yeah.
It's also given me I think such a I'm just so lucky to get to spend this much time with you.
Oh, that's so
Because if we
sweet.
weren't doing this together, we wouldn't be spending this time together. Of
Oh my
course, we'd
goodness,
still
we
spend
stop
time
talking about
together.
this. I'm gonna start getting emotional.
But
I'm such a crybaby. Whenever we start talking about this, I start crying.
well, I love I'm not gonna
Oh,
I'm not gonna take it away.
I'm actually gonna start crying. No, we need to stop.
All right, I'm gonna stop. But I do love working with you, and I really enjoy it, and it's such a blessing for me
Oh
to
my
have this
gosh.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think that we're really good at talking through, like,
Yeah.
if we've got different perspectives on things, we just talk it through. I think the downside, as you've brought out, is that I can like maybe be talking about it at 10 o'clock at night when we're on the sofa. Or first thing in the
Yeah.
morning at breakfast. And it's like, don't talk about it. Let's just talk about
Yeah.
other daughter stuff.
My mum will, like, wake up in the morning and wanna speak about wanna speak about this, and it'll be, like, 6 a.m., and I'll be like, "No, no."
So that's the challenge, isn't it? Like me keeping it in its box and not letting it go into everything, every other conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And we
exactly.
have to, yeah, that's a constant battle for me because I've always
It's
got
a
my
constant
mind's
battle for
always
me
going,
as well.
yeah,
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 I think it's a mutual constant battle, if that
yeah,
makes you feel better, because I think it
good.
should. Like, I'm always excited talking about work. And with my social media manager as well, because we are such good friends and, like, we have, like, the boundaries are even more blurred, I
Mm.
think, as well, because she doesn't have set working hours. She just has as many hours as she wants to work in a week, or as many hours as I can give her in a week. And I also don't have set working hours. So sometimes she'll message me at 10 p.m. and I'll be like, girl, go to bed. Or I'll be like, girl, stop working. And she'll be like, what? Or she'll message me on a Saturday and I'll be like, girl,
Yeah,
stop. Stop now.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
I'll message her, I'll email her on a weekend sometimes, and I'll be like, "Don't," and she'll see my emails on a weekend, and I'll be like, "Stop it. Stop replying to me right now. We need
yeah.
to not no more talking about work. Let's go and grab a coffee."
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. I think because the thing is, we're very accessible to each other. Whereas my other colleagues in work, it's like an email. So what I'll do is I might think about it at 10 o'clock at night, but I'll schedule it for 9 or whatever
Yeah.
it is. For us, it's like you're in front of me. I'm going to say it. So yeah, it can be
Yeah.
harder.
It is
Um,
yeah, it can be.
yeah, has creating Dawn Intelligence changed how you think about some of the topics that we discuss on the podcast? Do you think?
Yeah, it has. I think that it's given me a bit more of an insight. I also think the way that I think about AI for equity has changed as well. I don't think AI is this magic tool that I did a year ago. I actually
Yeah.
see it. that it can be used for harm as well. I think that we've spoken about this. I think that we both our outlooks on AI have changed a little bit. I definitely think that AI needs to be used for good, but I've always felt like that. But I think that there are so many use cases now of AI just being completely abused. Um, and even with my company, I have to be so, so, so mindful and intentional about what I put into it. I'm very mindful, I'm very intentional. Someone asked me how I could get demographic level, even house level information on people. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
Mm,
I'm not doing that.
yeah. Mm,
And I think that people get so excited about AI and what it can be used for that they dehumanize other people for it.
mm,
And I think you have to be so mindful and intentional.
mm.
And I think that a lot of people get carried away because it's fun. It is so fun. I love coding. I
Mm,
literally love it so much. I could, if you put me and my Visual Studio Code in a room with no windows, I probably wouldn't even realize for like 8 hours. And I'm not even joking. Like, I have
mm,
to set timers to make sure that I go and eat and have water and go to the toilet and things like that. Like,
mm.
I'm not my eyes will go square one day probably. But um, you know, I think it's so easy to get carried away and it's so easy to want to know more as well. Uh, like people doom scroll, I doom code. Like it's it's so easy to want to know more, but you have to put those limits in.
Yeah.
And I think that the more I learn, the more I'm like, people don't put enough limits in.
Yeah, it's funny how you said that a podcast that we've created about how AI can be used to solve the world's biggest problems also has enlightened us to how it can really accelerate the world's biggest problems.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, I suppose that's the yin and yang of it. And also that is shows that we're being objective, I think, in the way
Yeah.
we're going about it. Yeah, it could do all these great things, but it could also do all these terrible things. And let's make sure it goes in that direction. But at least we're not pretending that it couldn't be awful, because I think that would be
Exactly.
naive.
Yeah, I think it would be naive and I think it would just be lying
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. So, is there anything you think I don't fully understand about your generation's relationship with AI?
No, I think you've got your ear to the ground, to be
Oh,
honest.
I love that. I
All of
love
my
that.
friends call my mum Queen Jenny. They're
Oh.
all like, "Where's QJ today? How's Queen Jenny?" You are like the relatable cool mum. Have you seen Mean Girls before?
I think
The
so. Mm.
Yeah, the mum in Mean Girls is like, "I'm not a regular mum, I'm a cool
Oh.
mum." And that's literally what all my friends think about you. That's how I think about you
Oh,
as well.
I'll
And
take
I was
it. I'll take
speaking
it.
to one of my besties, Jen, yesterday, and we're talking about my birthday, even though my birthday is 5 months away. I think it's maybe more. I think it's maybe like 8 months away. But, Jen was saying, like, "Are you gonna invite your mum to your birthday?" And I was like, Maybe, not sure if she'll come though, because I wanna go away for my birthday." And she was like, "I hope she does.
Aw.
I love your mum so much, she's so cool." I was like, "I know my mum's cool. I know I have a
Aw.
cool
Well,
mum,
yeah,
guys."
we'll see. Maybe it's all an illusion. I'm sure I'm not that cool, but I'll take it. I'll take it. So I'm turning the tables on you. You keep giving everyone quick fire questions and putting them on the spot. Now it's your turn. I expect short, succinct, special questions. I needed an extra S
Mhm.
then. Are you ready?
Mhm.
Okay. An AI tool you genuinely cannot live without.
Spotify daily mixes. Oh my goodness, I literally love them so much. All the Spotify day list. It changes for like every 3 hours and it gives you a different mood. And I love it. And so like, wait, I'll tell you what my day list is right now.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Never used it. I do find like I have an uplifting mix. That's it. And it just mixes up uplifting
Mhm.
songs for me. But I've never done the day list
Look
before.
up day list. My day list mood right now is sunbathing, floaty Friday morning, and
Nice.
the description is here's some sunbathing, floaty, surf crush, spring break, vibey, night drive inspired by your listenings on Friday mornings. And it's like Fleetwood Mac, Blood Orange, Frank Ocean, The Smiths, The Cranberries, ASAP Rocky, Jungle, Lauryn
Wow.
Hill.
It's a real
Like
mix.
it's a real mix, but I'm sure it will all go together.
Really nice. Really nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Biggest myth about using AI for safety.
You don't need to know more. You need to know less. Less is more. Less is more, and you need to be intentional.
Okay. One thing every school should do tomorrow.
By dawn.
Good one. Good one. Yeah, by Dawn Intelligence. Absolutely. Every school, every local authority, every police force should have this. It's gonna be game changing. And one word to describe building Dawn Intelligence.
Rewarding.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Well, it's been a pleasure and an honor to turn the tables on you. I've loved it. You've risen to the challenge as we knew you would. And stay tuned for further episodes of AI for Equity. But this has been an extra special one. And I hope you've really enjoyed learning more about my co host and my daughter.
Thanks.
See you next time, everyone.
Bye.